Welcome back.
Welcome
To
the Mind Over Movies.
We're glitching.
We're glitching. The Matrix code is breaking, and that's how this opening segment that I've devised is possible. Remember last week that disaster where we reached our hands into the jar and we couldn't find any fucking movies?
Yes.
I've rethought the premise of that in time for Halloween season.
Okay.
You've always had those like debates growing up, like what character would beat other characters' ass.
Yeah.
And I think that we should put our 2 cents in real quick on who would win in these matchups. Okay. Freddy versus Jason.
Gotta be Freddy.
I think Freddy takes it just because with the dream powers, like there's just a lot more that he's capable of doing. I mean, obviously Jason's built as fuck. He's not gonna go down as easy. And if he can bring him into the real world, I think like the playing ground is a little bit more even. But if it's a dream,
if it's a dream, Freddy's way more agile. As well.
Yeah, and the finger blades, you can just do so much.
Yeah,
with the...
for sure. Okay, what about Norman Bates Psycho versus what's his name in American Psycho? It's
Bateman. Patrick Bateman.
Patrick Bateman Psycho.
Ooh, okay. I think Norman Bates would take it any day because
really.
Here's the thing: is I think Norman Bates is actually a murderer, and I think that Patrick Bateman just thinks about murdering people all the time. He is fit. I'll give him that. He's ripped.
He's way ripped.
He's way ripped, and he's got a great routine, and obviously, very nutritious meals that he eats every day. Psycho, I will say, we never see Norman Bates eat even a slightly nutritious meal. Maybe not even one meal the whole movie.
I'm gonna say even if Patrick Bateman doesn't kill people, he still works out. So I think if Norman Bates came after him, he would be able to just break his tiny little neck.
That's true. That the boyfriend in Psycho, the lover stops Norman in the end. So I guess it doesn't take much. It just takes not walking up a flight of stairs or showering. Yeah, that's the thing. Norman Bates only murders people when they're unaware.
Yeah. He's a true serial killer, I guess. But
Indeed. But Patrick Bateman, I think if he put his mind to it,
he's an absolute unit.
He's winning. And as in regards to nutritious meals, Norman Bateman needs like a MyFitnessPal, and maybe once he starts working on his macros, he can rejoin the fight.
I agree.
This is a personal favorite matchup of mine, and apparently everyone's. Alien versus Predator. And throw out the movies, okay? That's a bunch of constructed bullshit.
No.
I mean, not the movies, but like the bullshit AVP movies.
Yeah, no. I'm gonna say Predator. Okay, it's a really great matchup, honestly. I think they're really, really bad. But I would say the aliens only have slight intelligence, but Predator is like super intelligent. And so, if the humans can figure out how to kill the aliens efficiently, the Predator could learn how to do it in half the amount of time and do it much more efficiently with his array of gear and gadgets and stuff. So I think Predator would win.
I was thinking about this on the way home, and even though... So I feel like a people's bias of like the movies, like, the fact that the Alien movies are better than the Predator movies, like it gets them on the Xenomorph side. I was just thinking Xenomorph is like probably something the Predator hunts like every other Wednesday, like it's not that intelligent. It catches like a ship of, miners unaware, but like when it goes against, even colonial marines, like it doesn't stand a chance, and the Predator meanwhile is taking out our special forces for fun because it needs a challenge. I just think like in terms of fighting the U.S. military and also fighting each other, gotta go to the Predator.
Gotta go to the Predator.
Especially for fighting the U.S. military. Good on you, Predator.
Yeah, I think we just ended a years-long, decades-long debate.
Put it to rest. I feel comfortable.
I do too. As much as I do love the aliens and the movies and everything and how cool they are, like Predator kills in the movies like never impressed me.
No.
More than the alien kills in the Alien movies. Like, they're so cool, but honestly, I gotta say, like, the Predator would absolutely fucking, what's the word I'm looking? It would pummel.
Yeah. Into a pulp.
Yeah.
Even. My God. Well, I think those are all the matchups I can think of. Do you have any more that you would want to see throw down?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, are we going strictly? We're going strictly like horror, sci-fi.
No, I mean, fuck it up, bro. What do you got? What do you got? What about the creature from It Follows? Did you ever see that?
Well, I stopped watching it, but yeah.
Oh, you stopped watching it?
Yeah, I believe because I think we've had this discussion.
We've had this discussion. I just always get hurt. I just always walk back into it, and I get hurt.
I don't think we've ever discussed it on the podcast.
No, I don't think so. What's your beef with It Follows?
Well,
bro?
I stopped watching It Follows. Wow, this is like a direct hypocrisy from our last episode, but I stopped watching It Follows because I fucking hated it.
But no, I knew everything about the movie, actually. That's why I'm giving it a 3 out of 10.
No, I haven't rated It Follows or anything, I don't think. I think it's just on my Letterboxd as watched.
Yeah.
So keeping up with my trend, I stopped watching it because I found it extremely boring. And once in the first like 10, 15 minutes when I understood how it worked and what it was an analogy for, I was
You watched 10 to 15 minutes, folks. I mean, he's got it down.
I got 30 minutes of the way through.
Whoa!
Yeah. Whoa! And I was like, fuck it. I don't feel like watching this right now. Granted, it was 4 years ago that I was watching it. But,
true.
Yeah.
I don't think you're alone in, like, disliking it. Like, I don't know. Like, a lot of people hate on it online. And, like, it's one that I really love, but, like, it seems like especially people who are residential, like, horror fans really hate on It Follows. A lot of people, and I wasn't aware of this culture, are hating on Ari Aster. They call Hereditary and Midsommar, like, mommy's milk for the normies or whatever. Like,
How? What? That isn't... What?
I don't know. Like, there's these fucking people out there on the internet, and it's like, apparently these horror movies aren't like scary enough or like macho or fucked up enough for like a certain crowd. Like, I don't know. Not every movie can be like fucking Audition or whatever.
Cultural reset, bro.
I know. It's just like everything's like, I don't know. Everything's such a snobbish thing.
Yeah.
You can't be into anything without someone fucking dunking on you for it.
Exactly.
That's got me thinking though. Dune came out this week, and it seems like film Twitter for once is at peace. People like Dune.
Yeah.
And it's a critical success. It's a box office success, and the audience is digging it. Like, is Dune like the messiah of science fiction
of
movies?
Cinema?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I did notice that. I was like, okay, wow. There's obviously there's some people that don't like it. If you look at Letterboxd and read some of the bad reviews, whatever. But for the most part, on film Twitter, right? Film Twitter is all quiet on the Western Front, bro. Like, everybody's getting along, and I love it. Even though I haven't watched it yet, going to tonight, but everybody seems to agree, even if they don't. Some person doesn't like it as much as the other. They seem to agree that it is a good time.
Yeah,
right. It's entertainment value. So I'm excited to watch it. I'm excited to see.
I think it's kind of interesting that this is happening because there's not going to be any spoilers for Dune. By the way, we'll probably have a big discussion next week, maybe. I will say Dune is a slow burn. It's like half a movie right now, which as of today, actually, they've just announced part 2, so that's very fucking exciting.
Yes.
And that honestly solves most of the flaws that I would have with it because it is incomplete currently. You say that and people are like, oh, so it's half a movie, so it's like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. Like, no, that has like a break, that has like a clean ending. This, I mean, it's got an ending, but it's like, that's the third act we're going into, and we're not going to see it.
Yeah,
and then it was scary to be like, we don't know if we'll make it.
Yeah.
It's like, you can't give us this shit.
I mean, let's can we talk about not necessarily Dune, but let's talk a little bit about things surrounding Dune, because the movie is a talking point, but it's also spawned a few other talking points that many that you may know or maybe you haven't seen yet. But for example, the green lighting of a part 2. I'm starting to think that this might have been a ploy by the studio to get more people to go see it in theaters, to kind of threaten the success. Not to say that it wasn't real, that it's like if they don't get enough money they won't greenlight a second one. Obviously that happens all the time, but for it to be so public like this, for everybody talking about it, every review mentions, hey, go see it so we can get a part 2. Like, we need the part 2. And I feel like that was a main driving force in getting people into the theater to see it, because they're like, okay, well, there's going to be a second one, and everybody's talking about how great, big, and grand this is. I'm going to go see it. And I don't know, maybe that was part of their marketing ploy.
I feel like we're just seeing like behind the scenes dirty laundry that always happens just come to light because of the conditions of this movie coming out. Like, I think we're totally looking at like a Black Widow-esque situation where behind the scenes someone is not happy about the fact that this movie is releasing on a streaming service, throws a hissy fit, and it throws the whole like fate of the franchise into question. Scarlett Johansson made it pretty clear that she made it pretty clear by suing Disney that she wasn't too happy with the fact that Black Widow was released on Disney Plus, same day, because that affects her salary. With Denis, I think it's more of a I don't want to say snobbier thing, because I mean it is snobby, but I also see where he's coming from, having seen Dune now. It's like, he never wanted this to be on a streaming service the same day it was in the theaters, because he designed this movie to be viewed in the theater. And I think that his public hissy fit that he's been having for a while, has just come to light. And I think it sounds like from the greenlighting that most of the debate about whether there would be a sequel or not centered around the fact that Warner Brothers needed to not release Dune Part 2 on HBO Max. And that, it seems like Denis argued that successfully, and that's why he's making it. Like, I'm starting to think like the studio was willing, regardless of the box office, although I can't say that it hurt that I told all my friends, like, oh, we actually do need to see Dune because we don't know if it'll get enough funding. And I feel like a lot of people are saying that for sure.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's also tricky for Denis, specifically, him being the director, because Blade Runner 2049, critical darling, love that movie, box office failure at the highest degree, and cost so much money to make. And so them giving him a shot at Dune and kind of stressing like, hey, this movie needs to make some fucking money, because I think two things are on the line: Dune Part 2 and Denis Villeneuve's career. Like, he's not gonna get a lot of these massive projects, greenlit anymore. And him and Christopher Nolan, they are each gushing about each other's newest movies. Like, Christopher Nolan loves Dune, but Denis loves Tenet and everything. But if you look at their filmography and their trajectory in their careers, they're kind of the same. So, like, Denis started off with super low-budget indie stuff, so did Nolan, and then gradually each movie they made got bigger and bigger and bigger, to where now they've got their quote-unquote magnum opuses of cinema, these huge sci-fi thrillers. And it's kind of interesting that they're obviously, one's from the UK, one's from Mexico, and but their styles are pretty similar, using Hans Zimmer a lot, and they like to explore some of the, like, their movies are almost like the same, I don't know, they're like the two directors of like every film bros, like in their top 10s or whatever. I know they're in mine. Denis got some films in my top 10, and so does Nolan. So
Nolan, I don't think is as art house as Denis, though. Like, I do think that Nolan's always been a bros bro, like, filmmaker. But I think that you don't see Denis pop up on most people's charts until Prisoners, when he had been making like bangers. Oh shit! What's the one? Incendy
and Enemy are his two, like, art house.
Yeah. And I mean, Enemy did come out after Prisoners, but people like always seem to skip over that one, and they go straight to Sicario. Well,
I thought Enemy came out before Prisoners, but
no, it's like it's either same year or 2014. Yeah. Like, he made 5 movies back to back to back, and that's why people are saying like maybe he's got the best like film director run ever because he made straight bangers. My personal two favorites are Arrival and Blade Runner 2049, and now Dune. It probably would be where I would start the end of his 5-film run, because I don't love Prisoners, and honestly I don't even love Sicario all that much. But
really, those are my two favorite of his 5 run.
Really?
Yeah, those are my favorites of his 5 movie run. Is Sicario
oh my gosh,
and Prisoners.
Sicario is pretty good. Like, I think what makes Sicario is the Roger Deakins cinematography
Oh,
there.
yeah,
like
definitely.
I think that's more like impressive than any other element in that movie, which I hate to say, because I mean the story is pretty exciting, and I do think that it's a good movie. I just think that like you have masterpieces like on the line. Like I think Arrival is where he really
is amazing.
Came into his own. My problem with Prisoners is I wasn't expecting like a procedural. I guess I was expecting something a bit more groundbreaking, and then it did have its twists and turns, but it was for the most part like a crime drama that you would see.
For a procedural crime drama, though, I have to say it's probably the best fucking one. Honestly,
I guess maybe I think that genre has limits, which is sad.
It does. But he did an okay job. He did a great job with it.
It's a great movie. I don't know. Like, that's the thing, is you talk about the worst Denis Villeneuve movie, and you're
still
talking about a great movie.
Yeah. That's true.
I was going through and ranking all the Wes Anderson movies because I'm getting ready for French Dispatch this week.
Hell yeah.
And I was kind of experiencing this effect where I was like, wow, I rated this kind of lower on Letterboxd, and then I realized, like, I rate Wes Anderson movies compared to each other. Like, he's just set such a high bar for himself that it feels so much like a disappointment whenever, one of his weaker movies comes out. But those weaker movies are still better than most movies I see. I just am so fucking critical and nitpicky when it comes to him at this point. Like, I had Isle Dogs low. It's only got like 3.5 stars, and I was like, Isle Dogs fucks, man.
Yeah,
like,
it does. I was about to say.
I can't believe that it's this low on the list. And then I looked at everything else. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You know what surprised me is Grand Budapest Hotel ended up in my Wes Anderson top 3, and I didn't remember loving it that much, and then I kept thinking about it. It's like, that's one of the best,
Yeah, I think Fantastic Mr. Fox is still my favorite, and I saw something on Twitter the other day where somebody was like, it doesn't matter who you are, everybody has a different Wes Anderson ranking, and they like, that's really cool that everybody's is different. There no Wes Anderson ranking is alike almost. Because one person's favorite Wes Anderson movie is another person's least favorite, and then the rest just kind of fall in a weird order. But like, everybody connects differently with his films. For me, Fantastic Mr. Fox it does it for me. That's got to be my favorite of his. Close second, or actually, second to is probably Aquatic. Steve Zissou, because
I have those flipped on my list because I do like Aquatic a little bit more, but I do think that I would show Fantastic Mr. Fox to people first, because I think that was my first exposure to him, and I think it's a great movie for all ages, for all audiences. I think that's a timeless movie. And I think it could easily become number 1 on my list after another rewatch. I don't know. I love Life Aquatic, but I fucking love Fantastic Mr. Fox as well. You're a snob if you like Royal Tenenbaums better than those movies. No, I'm joking. I've always encountered, though, people who really love Rushmore, like that's their number 1, or Royal Tenenbaums. And like, those are great movies. Don't get me wrong. I don't think they're Wes Anderson's best, though. Like, and I think a big part of that is he like really loved that love triangle trope back in the early days, and he's walked away from it since. But like, I don't care for fucking cinematic love triangles. I guess they're kind of boring to me.
Gotcha.
I don't know. Do you feel that way at all?
Some of them are good. Actually. You bring up something I was wanting to mention. I haven't rewatched this film yet, but I'm gearing up for a rewatch because I thought about it the other day and I haven't stopped thinking about it. Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Oh, okay.
Because Stephen Chbosky is in the limelight once again for fucking a horrendous movie, apparently. He directed Dear Evan Hansen.
Oh! Oh no.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, and it's really confusing everybody because, like, how did the man that wrote the novel and directed Perks of Being a Wallflower, a movie that pretty much everybody, almost everybody, agrees is like a really awesome, or not maybe not awesome, but a really like grounded look into like trauma in teenagers and just like the coming of age genre, and then he makes Dear Evan Hansen. It's like, okay, the fuck.
He was dealt a shit hand, and that hand being Dear Evan Hansen the musical, which, I mean, not to offend anyone who likes Dear Evan Hansen the musical, is a piece of shit. I fucking hate that show.
Really?
And I don't even think that Ben Platt looks like a teenager in that, which, I mean, you're far away when you go see a show on Broadway. But, like, I just think it's not his fault. Like, I think it's this producer that's Ben Platt's dad, making sure that his son gets everything he wants. So, like, you want to be Dear Evan Hansen again? Okay, go ahead.
True.
I don't know. And just, like, it looks like a very by-the-numbers movie musical. Like, I don't think that this was a project of passion. I don't think your director put his heart into it. I think he put his paycheck into his bank account, and then
Probably.
a movie was made. I don't know.
I remember being insanely in love with Perks of Being a Wallflower because I saw the movie. I rented it from my local library, and I watched it, and I loved it, and I thought, this is a novel. I'm going to go read it. So I read the novel and then finished it, and then the same night that I finished the novel, I watched the movie again, and then I've just continually watched. That's like a comfort movie for me, and it's a 5-star film for me. I love that fucking film. I think it does everything correctly. Soundtrack's banging. There are a few people have pointed out there's some cringy dialogue in there.
Yeah.
But to me, I mean, they are teenagers. They think that "Come On Eileen" is like an indie song that nobody has ever heard of, which is fine. Which is where I first heard that song. I was like, this song is fucks.
This is banging.
It's banging. So yeah, I'm gonna rewatch that movie soon, and it has a little bit of a love triangle in it as well. So I'd say that's probably the best coming of age movie.
Yeah.
Is Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Cozy up with your aunt on the couch and watch Perks of Being a Wallflower.
Fucking yes.
Watch the movie.
Watch the movie.
Come back.
Yeah.
Man, I did you said cringy dialogue, and that made me think of a movie I watched this week. I watched so many movies this week. We're not going to get through all of them, but I had never seen Jennifer's Body before.
Oh, me neither.
This is a movie that, I mean, like when it came out, it was like hated by everyone, but over the years has gained like a real strong, like feminist, like positive view from critics.
So is Megan Fox.
Yeah, Megan Fox. Yeah, and I can see why people really, really like it. And honestly, like, I think that it was obviously very misunderstood. Like, I watched a trailer before we watched the movie, and it was just like, Megan Fox is hot.
Yeah.
Like, and apparently there's a feature on the Blu-ray called Megan Fox is Hot that just shows clips from the movie where she's like attractive, and that is like completely misunderstanding the point of the movie. I think.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, yes, Megan Fox is hot, and she has sex with people in the movie, and I mean that's great. Well, actually, you don't ever see her have sex. Now that I think about it. Shit, what was I going to say? But this is a very beloved movie. Like, a lot of people that I see on Twitter, say this is, like, their favorite movie. And I want to like it more than I do. And I get where everyone's coming from, and I appreciate it. But, bro, the dialogue in fucking Jennifer's Body is pretty fucking cringy. Like, it feels like it might have been clever in, like, 2006. And then, unfortunately for the movie, it was made in 2009.
Yeah.
It's got, like, this really, like, awful, like, band that features prominently in it. And it's just, like, I don't know. I don't miss, like, 2000s, like, emo rock. So maybe this is just not my culture of, like, movie.
Right.
Because I never listened to, like, fucking All Time Low or, like, Pierce the Veil or whatever. And maybe I don't get it,
I definitely listened to them, so I might love Jennifer's Body.
You might love Jennifer's Body.
I still listen to them.
I liked it, though. I did.
Right.
I still appreciate what it was doing, and I think that it's a sharp, like, dark comedy, and I can see that it's not supposed to be viewed as a horror movie, which is that my theory why people hated it at the time is the marketing led people to believe that it was like worthless trash, just like womanizing even though it's the complete opposite. It's directed by a woman, it's written by a woman, it's got women as the leads. There's only like one male character that prominently features in this movie, and he's honestly a really positive and nice guy, which you wouldn't expect. Right. But like, it's showing like a healthy relationship, and it shows, you know, some very unhealthy relationships that men and women have, and it's also really fucking funny. Like, I don't want to give too much away, but like the premise is like an indie band sacrifices Jennifer because they can't make it as an indie band, because it's actually really hard for indie bands, so they sacrifice her to the devil so they can get famous.
Nice.
I mean, it's a pretty strong concept going in, and I think if you can get over like how 2009 it feels, like you'll have a really good time with it. And maybe if you are not an asshole or are gay, you know, you'll like it even more. That's the thing that I thought the most, is like, this is definitely one for the lesbians. You know?
Yeah. Lesbians have entered the chat.
Indeed. Lesbians, what do you think? Jennifer's body. Tell us.
Let us know.
Let us know. I mean, all women. What do you think of Jennifer's body? Our queens. Wait, I wanted to finish that vine, but I don't want that to be my representative. I love that video.
Yeah,
where the guys are going at it with the lightsabers.
I love the animated ones too.
All women are queens.
He's got the lightsabers.
If she breathes.
Yeah, good stuff.
Lots of good horror movies that I had never seen, because I also watched Nightmare on Elm Street for the first time this week, and that's why I felt a little more educated, talking about Freddy Krueger versus Jason.
Yes.
Honestly, pretty scary movie. Like, I had always thought Freddy Krueger was a more comedic character, and maybe that's what the sequels do to him. But in the first movie, he's pretty much played mostly for scares, you know, and he looks pretty freaky.
Yeah.
And the concept alone of being fucking murdered in your dreams, and that's the one place that you're not safe, is in bed. It's like, whew.
Yeah, like, even like watching it now in 2021, even after, it got me thinking. I was like, oh damn, like, what if I do die in my dreams? That's scary as fuck. Like, it's a very scary concept, and executed well, I think, for an 80s movie.
I think it's like hard to not watch it and like not feel your eyelids like be a little heavy, especially if it's at night. Like, I went straight to fucking bed after that movie, because I was like, stay awake. And that's always a mental trick I've heard. Like, if you're an insomniac, like, you know, if you stay awake for a while and tell yourself, like, stay awake, eventually you'll go to sleep. I've never gotten the hang of that trick, though. I fucking am sleepless most of the time.
Same.
Anyway. That was good. I watched the Amityville Horror. That wasn't good. That was really boring. And that's all I want to fucking say about it, because it was so goddamn boring. I don't see how it has a remake or sequels. Like,
I don't know.
And I'm being dead ass here. Like, the 5 minutes dedicated to that tragedy and The Conjuring is much better than the fucking 2-hour movie devoted to it. In the original, even. Like, I didn't even watch the shitty, like, Ryan Reynolds remake or whatever. Like, this this is the original, and it fucking sucks. Fuck, I watched so much. I can't keep up with all the things I watched. We watched Scream again. Another Wes Craven banger. Still holds up, still funny. I think it just also feels a little bit dated in parts, though, because it is very 90s, and they reference a lot of shit that was going on in the 90s that was important, but like a lot of people won't understand today. Like, I don't know about this like Sharon Stone stalker thing that comes up multiple times in the movie, and I think there was some other like inside like pop culture reference in there. It's just like, I don't understand what that means anymore, but I enjoy you. Little movie.
True. Definitely product of the time.
And I think that the horror genre's evolved enough at this point that, well, I guess they are remaking. They're rebooting.
Rebooting Scream?
Yeah, because Courtney Cox and...
everybody's coming back.
Yeah, everyone comes back, so I guess they can't remake it, but... It's a sequel again. I just wish it wasn't fucking called Scream.
I know.
Because that's the title of the first one. I think that's the worst trend in Hollywood right now.
Is remaking things and just calling it the title, like Halloween and then Halloween.
Because we have 3 different Halloweens to fucking sift through, and they are from 3 different timelines. Well, actually, the first one and Halloween and Halloween are the same timeline, but not Halloween.
Different timeline.
And fans have to do all the fucking hard work. They're like, oh, Rob Zombie's Halloween, or like, and there's the David Gordon Green Halloween, and then there's the Halloween. John Carpenter Halloween, which the John Carpenter Halloween has this whole trilogy, but you should ignore 2 and 3 because 3 is a
Season of the Witch.
Yeah, Season of the Witch. What's the word that I'm looking for? Anthology movie. Yeah. And it's not actually Michael Myers, and 2 isn't canon anymore because everyone hates the Laurie as, Michael Myers' like sister thing. Yeah. Except not everyone hates that because some people don't like that that's gone. So it's like you can't please anyone.
No, you can't, especially in the horror genre.
Ooh. I don't want to even think about horror movies anymore because I watch so many and I can't remember them right now. Sorry, I do want to talk about them, but what I'm thinking about right now is a movie that I think you also need to try and go see if you can in the theaters, The Last Duel.
I know, I want to watch it so fucking bad.
You'd fuck with this movie.
I'd fuck with this movie.
I think that you'd be really vibing with it, and I really liked it. That's all I'll say is just a lot more interesting than you would think. There's a lot more going on there than The Last Duel. Okay.
Okay.
There's some perspective shit happening. Yeah. Which, did you ever see that movie in 2008? It has Jack from Lost in it, and like the whole gimmick of it is like there's all these different viewpoints. And like the president's like
vantage point. Yes. I love that movie.
I don't remember anything about it, but I still remember how cool it seemed. They would jump around from character to character. What a gimmick.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I remember watching it and being like, "Well, this is cool." It's like reliving the same event over and over from different perspectives, and that's cool. And I've heard that's what The Last Duel does, and I'm excited to see that because it's. I mean, listen, Ridley Scott, he's only let us down a couple times, so I'm excited. I think he'll do good.
Yeah. And it's Matt Damon and Ben Affleck written, and they have a surprisingly good catalog of movies that they've written. Good Will Hunting being one of the most critically acclaimed films of all time, and they've pinned it. Right. And they're both in this movie, and they're both very good. I think the only complaint that I can lodge against Last Duel right now is worst commitment to accents I've ever seen. They drop it pretty quickly. A couple of people keep their accents, not most. They're not very French. It turns out. That's all I can think of movies that I've seen. I'm sure I've seen more, and maybe they'll come up. We'll talk about Dune. Okay, I'll just say I loved it. We'll talk
next week. Yeah.
I hope you love it. I really do.
I do too. I'm really excited to watch it. I'm going to out myself here real quick. I'm going to watch it on HBO Max tonight, but I'm going to go see it in the XD theater when I get more time and more days off. I'm working 2 jobs right now, so finding time to go to the theater for a 2.5-hour movie, there's only so much time in the week. But I am going to go see it in a theater. But I just want to watch it on my big TV at home just to get it over with. Just so I can talk about it.
And Casey has been using his big TV, and we're only about 3 or 4 weeks late. No, we're only about 3 or 4 weeks late, but there was a show that came out. There's a show.
Yeah. LOL. I'm very late.
Oh my gosh, she's so late. He was so late that he didn't even realize that we were talking about it today. He thought that was next week.
Yeah, I did.
No, that's okay. Hey, do you want to out yourself now?
Let's. Yeah, I didn't watch What If at all until not a week ago.
Like, not at all, really?
No, not at all. I watched the first episode 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, I mean,
I was not interested to watch it at all.
I feel like this was a lot of people's experience. Like, we all put on the Captain Carter episode, and it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it wasn't very good either. And we just all stopped. And then, I don't know, I came back to it 3 weeks in, and they had 2 episodes out that looked interesting, and I was like, okay, let's jump in. And I was surprised. The show is over now, and it's mostly self-contained. Well, I don't want to say the word mostly. Is that spoilery? No. Fuck it. It's spoiler-free right now.
Yeah, spoiler-free, yeah.
Right now.
We'll get into spoilers.
Yeah. But spoiler free, like I liked that it was episodic for the most part. Like obviously because it's Marvel, you know it's got to have like a few connections back to the larger universe, and there are some. And they made me roll my eyes, like spoiler alert. But I just I think that with this kind of series, an anthology series is what I would still describe it as. You're just going to have such fucking varied consistency of quality because, like, you're going to have a couple good episode runs. You're going to have a couple stinkers. You're going to have a real stinker with a meh one. And I feel like this show really ran, like, through all of that.
Yeah. In 9 episodes, it ran through all different possibilities of, ratings, I guess. If this show was live, like, actually on cable or something, and every week an episode premiered and millions tuned in, the ratings would be going up and down and up and down and up and down. It's quite the ride, which is why I'm excited to rank them. I think that's the best way.
Yeah. Because, like, it's hard to review the whole show because the whole show has nothing to do with itself for the most part.
It's an anthology, kind of.
Like, I would have to stick it with a 5 because... it has very high highs and it has very low lows. Yeah. And then it has some middling, like, episodes. Like, I don't know. Like, to talk about the collective is difficult. And I think, like, what we have with this ranking that we're planned and diving into spoilers, like, I know if you haven't seen every episode, that might be frustrating that we're jumping into spoilers about everything. But, like, whatever.
Yeah.
It's Marvel. And you know what? They say everything's super important to the universe. It's okay. If you don't watch this show. Spoiler alert. Really is. You're going to be fine.
Yeah. If you want to, watch it. But if you don't want to, then you really don't have to. But we're going to jump into spoilers now with our little ranking.
Indeed.
Isaac, let's start off with a high note. What was your favorite episode?
Oh my God, we're starting from the top?
Let's go from the top.
Top to the bottom, okay. Well, if you had to press me, I would say that my favorite episode's a cliche because it's the Doctor Strange if he lost his heart instead of his hands.
That's
episode.
Also my favorite.
Okay, I'm glad we can talk about this.
Yeah.
So this is what I wanted the show to be every week. Like this spoiled me so thoroughly because I was like, wow, this took like a movie from the MCU that I don't even like that much, gave it much more like of an emotional core. Because it's not limited by the MCU at large, you're allowed to delve into these like higher stakes and these characters making choices that we don't agree with, and you get into the fucking consequences of those choices. And I think it is fucking emotional and beautiful, and I love it as a self-contained episode. I think by the time it wraps up, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, it's. I agree. I mean, it's. I even though I liked the Doctor Strange movie, quite a bit, it does have its problems that I think this episode helps consolidate. Like, it is what I wanted this series to be every week, every episode, because they take so many. I wouldn't even call it risks because there's no risks for What If. But it's like, wow, like they can do anything they fucking want to. And I think that they don't realize that in pretty much all the other episodes except for this one. And I'm like, wow, this, like, what? Yeah, let's do this a lot. Let's fuck shit up like this every week. This is entertaining. This is what I want. And it's emotional. And it's not just, what if this character was actually this character?
Yeah.
And that's what I hated, about the show the most was those episodes, but this one was wholly original. Even the title, what if Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? Like, bitch, that's good.
That's a good title. That's like
good shit. Yeah.
Much better than all of the other titles, which are pretty simple questions.
Right.
I do like that all of the episodes do, center around that question. They fucking answer to the logical extreme everything that would happen.
Yeah.
I just do think that they cheat quite a bit with some of the things. We'll get into that in a later one that I think really bended a lot of things.
Oh yeah.
Bent a lot of things. And man, I don't know. I can't diss the Doctor Strange episode. I really liked it. I wouldn't say it's a like cinematic masterpiece or anything, but like it was really fucking good, and it's better than like a lot of the Marvel movies that have come out. Like truly, and that's so surprising to see in this show. You know, that is for the most part pretty unimpressive. You know, not getting too ahead of myself yet, but I don't know. What's your number 2, Casey?
My number 2 is going to be episode number 3. It's the
what if the Earth
Avengers
lost its mightiest heroes?
I loved it. I thought it was great little espionage, or I don't know, assassination.
Yeah, like
plot.
a whodunit.
Whodunit. Yeah, it's a great whodunit. I enjoyed it.
This is where I jumped in. Like, I watched this episode and I was like, this show fucks. Like, you know, like I like what they're doing here. I mean, it's right there in the title, but it kind of surprises you. The Avengers fucking die. You know, they're all killed off one by one, and it's dark. It's the first time the show had stepped into that realm of like, we have free reign of killing these characters, and we will. And,
and they do continuously throughout the show. It's just never been more of impressive, I'd say, than here of seeing everybody die.
I think what I really like about this episode is that some of the other episodes get a little bit too grandiose and like large in scale, and this felt really like grounded, I guess. Like, you know, even though there were some like otherworldly conflicts, like it felt like it kept coming back to like personal relationships. Like, I really fuck with the way that like Scarlett Johansson impersonator and Nick Fury are getting along and like talking through things, and like, I don't know, by the end of the episode you really do feel like, oh my gosh, Earth has lost like some real fucking heroes that could have helped them out of this jam. I think my only complaint, and this is my complaint with a lot of the episodes of the show, is it ends on like an unresolved like little thing. You know, it's like, oh, Captain Marvel and Captain America are gonna come back and save the day, and it's like, well, that's not really an ending, but okay, like maybe you'll explore this later
in a later season or something. I don't know.
I will go ahead and give a little bit of a future talking point from me. The way that they ended up revisiting most of those cliffhanger episodes was complete dog shit, in my opinion. Like, that was not at all like, and it went back and actually hurt these episodes that I enjoyed. You know, like in my eyes now, if you had like a cliffhanger ending in your What If episode, you probably are now worse in my eyes, which is why this episode is actually number 3 for me. Which I fought for a long time for it to stay at the number 2 spot because I really do like it so much, and it's what got me hooked on the show. But like, to be honest, I think that the T'Challa Star-Lord episode is a little bit better. I think that like, in terms of like being extremely emotional and like a touching send-off to Chadwick Boseman, I really enjoy it for that. And honestly, I just really like how lighthearted and funny it is. Like, I think that on one end of the What If extremity, you know, you have the we can do a bunch of universe ending character killing shit that I really enjoy, but on the other end you can just fuck around with the continuity. Like, I love that Thanos in that T'Challa Star-Lord episode is just like a chill dude. He's like yeah, I can see that I was wrong. Like, whatever. You know, it's not meant to be taken so seriously by like a bunch of Marvel fanboys, and ironically, like, it was people freaking out on Twitter about how much they hated that made me interested in What If again. I was like, that looks dope. I mean, like, that looks kind of legitimately funny. You haven't said anything, which makes me worry that you don't like this episode.
I don't like this episode hardly at all. It's at the bottom, and not because I don't think all the episodes need to be serious. Like, you know, it's for me, it's the concept of what if character A was actually character B. And it just kind of like, I'm like, eh. Like, yeah, the episode was fun. It was definitely a fun episode, and I had some enjoyment with it. And the Thanos thing was actually really funny. And if people actually got mad about that, like, why? Like, I don't know. Like, I thought
there was a tweet that was like, please, someone tell me this isn't real.
Oh my god!
Like, fuck off.
No, that's funny. I enjoyed that about the episode.
Not like the heist element. I don't know. Like,
but it's just, I don't know. The whole episode felt rushed for me, and it wasn't even. I felt like they just could have done better with the character of T'Challa in like a different episode. Like, it was interesting, yes, but at the same time, I feel like it still followed a lot of the same story beats as the first one did, just with different characters and a different setting. But I mean, yeah, I can see what you're saying though. Like, it's just not personally just not one of my favorites.
I'm glad we have it because I mean, even though Chadwick Boseman comes back for like 4 episodes, I think.
Yeah.
This is the only one he has shit to do in. Like, 2 of the episodes are just like he has like a line maybe, and then he's dead, which is crazy. We'll talk about this one episode. There's one episode that I feel like is pretty mid, but I have a lot of thoughts about it because it should work, I think. Anyway, what's your number 3?
So my number 3 spot, you're probably definitely, from the way you've been talking, you're probably going to disagree with me, but my favorite is the penultimate episode 8, What If Ultron won?
I have that as number 4. Okay. So we're not too
far off.
Divergent.
Okay.
Like, honestly, it's where a lot of problems that I have with the serialization of the Marvel Universe come into play. But I think the penultimate episode is much better than its resolution. Like, I fuck with it.
I have, so I have, spoiler alert, I have 8 and 9 as, like, in the top. Like, 8 is number 3 for me, and then the last episode is number 4 for me. Okay. Not necessarily because the serialization, like, it did annoy me, the serialization, but what I can't get over is just how goddamn entertaining and amazing the animation was in both episodes, but especially in 9. But episode 8 specifically is really, really also what I want from this show, because you have, it's not a concept of what if character A would be. It's like, hey, what if Ultron, the worst Avengers movie, what if he won? And it's like, okay, what he does afterwards is interesting and it's actually entertaining, and just like, I love the episodes where like everybody fucking dies, and like everything's so desolate and so hopeless, because the villains are actually winning, and we get some cool like characters out of that, like Clint and Natasha. That's a classic duo in this episode. It's still a classic fucking duo. It's still entertaining as hell. And it just makes you appreciate Ultron a little bit more. And also, when Thanos shows up and he just cuts him in half, that's so fucking funny to me. And he gets the Infinity Stones. Like, it's just a cool episode. And I think the animation is really, really well done. The ending leads into, some problems with the overall show into episode 9. But it's still cool as fucking hell. I think the ending where he just senses the Watcher and he's like, oh, there's more universes. I was like, oh shit, okay, that's kind of cool.
That was pretty jaw-dropping. I didn't really care for like their fight afterwards. I didn't either. I think that, okay, so I fuck with episode 8 because I wanted Ultron in that movie to be such a big villain and like actually matter, and it's cool to get a sneak peek of like what that character done justice would have looked like. I think my only problem with the character is that it gets boring pretty quickly for me. Like, he's just like really powerful and doesn't have much of a motive, and without actual James Spader there, it sounds like a pretty half-baked impression, and he sounds bored. Like, it sounds like they've been in the studio all day, and it's like, okay, Ross, do James Spader now. And it's like, oh my God. I'm gonna get all the Infinity Stones. Okay, that sounds good to us. Thanks.
I mean, also you bring up the point. I don't think the voice acting is great in any of these episodes, to be honest. There's a few standouts, but for the most part, it's really pretty unrelentlessly fucking horrible for me.
So this is a big problem I have with the show, is like, usually when a show jumps into animation and they've got characters from the movies, they'll just go ahead and hire like real voice actors to play those characters, and it's fine because they have the vibe down. So what's weird about this show is there's the celebrities who are being paid enough to come back, and there are the people who want to move on with their careers, or / they didn't get offered enough money. Tom Holland, not in the show. Not. Robert Downey Jr. definitely not in the show. I think my biggest beef is like it's such a good thing that Iron Man usually dies in the episodes that he's in because the guy impersonating RDJ is fucking awful. Yeah. I hate listening to it. Whoa, oh my god, what, Killmonger, what are you doing here, saving me? I can't do.
Sounds like a 28-year-old cosplaying at Comic-Con trying to do the Robert Downey Jr. voice.
I hate it.
It's bad, yeah.
I think there are some actual talented like voice actors that are here. I think Lake Bell taking over for Scarlett Johansson is really, pretty good.
I think that's really good, actually.
She's really gifted at that. I think that my problem is a lot of the celebrities who have come back to voice their characters do not sound like they're in it. Like Tom Hiddleston, believe it or not, like sounds pretty fucking bad. Chris Hemsworth, I would also say does not sound his best in the show.
No.
He sounds bored.
Yeah.
Like most of them sound kind of bored. Like I think even Brie Larson came back to be Captain Marvel.
Her
which is
voice
crazy.
acting is probably the worst. Like, oh my god, it's so bad. All of it's so bad. Yeah,
but yeah, it's weird. It's like you'll get a few standouts that are pretty good. Like I would say T'Challa for the most part is really well voice acted throughout.
I also will say Drax is voiced pretty well. It's not by Dave Bautista, but whoever did voice Drax, I think, is good.
Oh yeah, and I mean I like Josh Brolin coming back to be Thanos. That was funny.
Like
he was just being himself.
Yeah.
He's got a real knack for it. Fuck, what episode were we talking? Oh,
8,
the
9.
penultimate, yeah. So I really like the penultimate, and I like the character dynamics and everything. I feel like they ruin a good thing that was going on in 8 with 9, because the team up is really flimsy.
Yeah.
I do not agree with the picks that the Watcher had, like, at all. Like, Killmonger?
Yeah, really? Yeah, no.
What? And... Party Thor. It just seemed like a really vague and like weak attempt to bridge all the episodes together, and it doesn't work. Like that's the thing, is this show should not have tried to team up characters from the different episodes, and it's weak in the way they revisit those storylines that you thought were going to get a proper resolution. It just like pops in for a second. It's like, oh, we're gonna get you out of here.
Yeah, you have been chosen. Yeah,
like it's lame, and it feels so rushed too. Like that last episode, I hate to say it, but they could have indulged in some length there, because currently it's just short and rushed and not all that good. I don't know. Like
I like it because I think so here's one of my problem. The main problem I have with this show, and I think Jacob Kolb said it best: when it slaps, it slaps.
Yeah.
Yes. And episode 9 was full of animation where it just slapped. It just kept hitting. And that's mainly because pretty much all the episode was action. The action, the fighting, how they animate that, and even when Ultron and the Watcher are fighting, even that animation is gorgeous. I love it. I think that's what the level this show needs to be on. But in those fucking quieter, well, maybe not even quieter, but mainly just like, of just characters interacting, it looks god awful. I hate the animation in this fucking show. And that's why I appreciate 9 so much, is because I didn't notice the animation at all in episode 9. And because it was wildly entertaining to watch, even though the team up, I'm just like, the team up's kind of stupid. But it still had some emotion there. And for me, it didn't completely ruin the episodes, like I thought it was for sure. I thought I was gonna hate it when I saw Doctor Strange come back from that episode. I was like, oh no, he's supposed to live with his consequences. But then the Watcher just delivers him right back to that mirror dimension. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm fine with that. So it's not a complete 180. But I feel like they should have saved this whole big what if the Watcher broke his oath thing for like a later season.
Yeah, because I mean, and also they tease it so much in the fucking episode already that it's like, I mean, in the episodes already, like you see him interfere with Doctor Strange's thing. You see him like tempted a few times, and I don't know, it works when it's like almost on edge, but as soon as he comes into it, it's just boring. It's like, man, it turns out if the Watcher broke his oath, he's not doing much.
Yeah, there's no consequences.
He's just going and getting a few people. Like, he's not paying any kind of cosmic price. It doesn't seem like the timeline's been fucked with. Like, why even have the oath? Like, just go ahead and interfere like crazy. Be God, I guess. What else?
What's next on your list?
Oh, okay. So I've been debating about this. Sorry, I've been in my notes app because I've been trying to rearrange things because as I've been thinking about the series, I've wanted to change things up a little bit more. I think that my next 2 episodes for the sixth and 7th spot, I feel about the same for, and it's the Killmonger episode and the Captain Carter episode. Like, they could be 6 or 7 interchangeably. I don't really care.
Yeah.
They're just not terrible. But they're
I like the Killmonger episode a lot. It's next on my list.
It's like number 5.
It's number 5. Killmonger episode is number 5.
I don't know. Like, I want to like it because there's some cool ideas there. This is the one where Robert Downey Jr. impersonator really gets on my nerves. And I also think they bend the canon of the movies a lot. Like, I think that they change, like, a bit of Iron Man and a bit of Black Panther to kind of fit together more timeline-wise. When it feels like, shouldn't Killmonger be like a teenager or something by the time of Iron Man? And like, I don't know, the Navy SEALs like thing feels kind of like flimsy, and the 10 rings, like, I don't know, like, I couldn't turn that part of my brain off while watching, and also it didn't feel like the episode was that interesting after Tony Stark was killed. Like, I liked the idea of him not getting to become a hero, but like, things that bug me, like, he's way too trusting of Killmonger, which I guess he might be because he never becomes a hero and he never learns like a bunch of important life experiences. He doesn't even learn that he can't trust Jeff Bridges. Killmonger tells him, don't do it. So I liked everything that was going on before they go to Wakanda. Yeah. By the time they got to Wakanda, it was just like the worst part of Black Panther again, you know, like with the down to the fucking rhinos being ridden against like pretty bland like force, you know. It just it wasn't that interesting anymore, and honestly, I don't think that this episode is one that could survive without proper resolution. Like, it builds and builds and builds, and then it stops. And this is the one where it hurts the most, when it's like, oh, I thought we might revisit this later, and it turns out that it's just going to be a brief glimpse of like Shuri like running in there, and then he's gone. It's like, what? It's like, no, wrap up that story.
Yeah, the story was getting interesting when they ended it. Like, the story was interesting at first, and then the mid episode was end, but then right when it ended, I'm like, okay, I feel like an episode should have started about right here, you know? Like, this felt like a prologue, and that did bug me a lot, though.
This one didn't turn me... Like, I think I'm putting this one above Captain Carter because it didn't turn me away from the series like that one did. And I think that it answers the question it poses a little bit more interestingly. Like, I think that this is one of those episodes where when I look at the series, I'm like, okay, I'm glad that they broke down the logical extreme of everything that would happen if this one event was different. Yeah. And it feels like there's a lot of ripples in this episode that are interesting to examine. I just think it's sloppy, you know? I think the animation doesn't help it for how many epic battles it wants to have in the middle of it too. And I don't know. It's just one that I don't think I'll ever revisit either. Like, none of these I think I'll rewatch, you know? Like, I'll talk about them this week, and then I'll probably not care about it unless What If Season 2 comes out, but I'm not going to rewatch Season 1 for this. No, sir. No, sir. No. What do you have next after that?
Next, I have the Zombies episode. It's mid for me. Actually, no, it's in the last 4, though, so it's not... I guess it's not... Yeah, I guess it is right at the, crossroads. Yeah, man, I don't know. It's really goofy, and it should work in this show, right? But it doesn't for some fucking reason.
No, it really bugs me how much it doesn't work. Like, I had it as my second to last episode. Yeah. Because I really didn't like it. Like, I think the one interesting part is when they get to the military base and, like, Vision is doing some fucked up shit there. But, like, I don't fucking care. Like, about the apocalypse, the stakes feel so vague. Like, one moment we're led to believe, everyone's holding out for, like, survival. And then you see Spider-Man, Tom Holland impersonator, like, filming a home video, and it's, like, humorous or whatever. And it's like, what tone are you going for?
Right.
What's the feel here? Like, I think most of the interesting parts of the zombie episode is character deaths again, which they've already shown us that they're willing to kill off characters, so it feels cheaper, other than the fact that it's, like, gory. Well, kind of gory, because, I mean, like, Captain America gets split in half, you see, like, some other nasty zombie gore, but you never see a human, like, get killed like that.
I agree. It's just, there's just not a lot to talk about it. You
know?
It's just mid. I don't know.
It's disappointing.
It is
how
disappointing.
Like bland it feels, because it should. Going into the season, I really was expecting it to be my favorite episode, and it was one of my least favorites.
Yeah, same.
That's my number 8, which I know we've jumped around on my list, but like Captain Carter's my 7. So to clear up the ranking so far, it's number 1, Doctor Strange, number 2, T'Challa Star-Lord, which Casey is going to be putting that in, I think, almost the exact opposite spot as me. Yeah. Number 3, Lost Its Mightiest Heroes. 4, Ultron winning. 5, the finale. 6, Killmonger. 7, Captain Carter. 8, zombies.
8 zombies. Okay.
Yeah,
so for me, I have 2 episodes left. For me, first it's Doctor Strange. Second is Lost Its Mightiest Heroes. Third is Ultron winning. Fourth is the finale, the Watcher breaking his oath, and then 5th is the Killmonger episode, and then 6th is the zombies. 7th for me is the Star-Lord. T'Challa becomes Star-Lord.
Okay.
Which brings me to, I guess you're on your last one, but I'm on my next.
Let's talk about Captain Carter. Or wait, hold on.
Yeah,
you're on your second to last. Okay.
Yeah,
I see.
So my second to last is the Thor episode with Thor were an only child. It's number 8 for me.
I feel like I should like this one more than I do, because it is silly.
Yeah.
Like, it's just full on silly. It just felt like a waste of time, though.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a huge waste of time. I felt that way after watching it. I was like, okay, well, nothing interesting happened. The animation looked the worst that it's ever looked. Like, ever.
Everyone sounded bored. Natalie Portman is there, and she doesn't care, and Chris Hemsworth doesn't care, and Taika Waititi's there, and I'm tired. Like, I'm not feeling Korg these days.
No. Like, Kat Dennings, I think, was the only one there that was game.
Yeah.
Because she always sounds, up. I think that's maybe this is her personality. But, yeah, no, the story was stupid as fuck. Hated that. Hated pretty much every second of this I hated. It's the next to the worst episode. There's nothing interesting about it. It does nothing interesting whatsoever. I don't have anything good to say about it.
I think I like the part where he gets a tattoo that says science.
That's
pretty good.
That's pretty funny.
I don't know. That's it though. I think part of it is like, I don't care about the Thor 1 and 2 cast. Like, I don't care about Jane. I don't care about any of those human characters. That's why when Kat Dennings came back to the universe, I didn't even know that she had been there.
Yeah.
Like, I completely forgot. I have no intention of revisiting the original 2 Thor movies, and so I think that this episode is just lost on me, because I think it's dependent on you knowing their casts pretty well and being fond of
the Thor movies.
Yeah, and it's just like, I don't care.
Yeah, I don't.
It was really boring and a waste of time. I have it as my last place. Yep. Yeah.
That's your last place?
That's my last place.
Okay.
I was kinder to Captain Carter than you, which
which is my last pick.
Really weird that they picked this one as the opener of the season, I think.
I think it killed a lot of its hype.
Yeah, like I instantly, like, I don't even think I finished it like the first time I started watching it. Like, I think what happened is I turned it off midway. I revisited the show when 3 and 2 were out, and then I went back and finished it, but I couldn't tell you what the fuck happened in the ending of the episode. Like, I remember the beginning because it was unimpressive to me, to like such a grand scale. Like, the animation looks like shit in this episode. Like, it really bugged me. I think that Haley Atwell is one of those people that is actually trying in the show, which is cool.
Yeah, her voice acting is decent.
She's offset by like the fact that they couldn't get anyone else back for that particular episode, though. Like, I'm not really digging the Steve Rogers impersonator. I'm not really enjoying seeing that character become Iron Man. I just didn't really care for First Avenger twists, like, because I don't even like First Avenger that much. So it's like, and this is the problem with the show, is like it's revisiting a lot of mid Marvel movies, and it's like, ooh, like, here's this one twist on it that would make it all spicy, and it's like, I don't care.
Yeah, the thing is, the twist is it tells the same story but with a different character and slightly different, consequences of their actions, and it's not even huge consequences, and it's just the same but different, and I hate it.
Yeah.
And I think that it's a horrible way to start off the show. I honestly do think it killed a lot of hype for this show. That's why nobody fucking talks about it, is because the first episode, people are like, I'm not fucking interested. If they had started the first episode off with like 3 or 4 or basically sorry, thank you, any other episode except that one or the Thor episode, I feel like people would have gravitated to the show a little bit more, but it's just I don't know. I also have nothing really good to say about this. The action scenes, like I said, when the animation slaps, it slaps. It slaps for a little portion of this episode, but that's it. Like, yeah, it's a horrible way to start off the season, and it's the worst episode in my eyes.
It's just boring.
It is boring, yeah.
I think that's my biggest takeaway from What If, is like, it's a show that could have a lot of fun, and it should be having a lot more fun with itself, and it doesn't. It's just fucking boring, and it's such disposable entertainment. Like, we're already moved on to the next thing. I don't think anyone in the Marvel Universe, except for the diehard fans, is going to hold on to anything from the show. I mean, the one aspect of it that could come into play later is dealt with and resolved and locked away in this show. Like, I think what was so exciting about the penultimate episode of the show is like, oh, I guess, they weren't bullshitting when they said it would have larger universe consequences. And I thought maybe that meant like Ultron would come back, but with like James Spader, that we could book him for a movie. Not going to happen. And none of this show is going to matter. And it doesn't matter to me. It just feels like I watched it because it was Marvel, and I do enjoy knowing what's going on with Marvel, but I don't necessarily have any love for it just because it's under that brand.
That's what's so infuriating about this first season, is what they should be doing is having fun. And they had fun a couple times, but they're not having fun with it, and that's all I want. I don't want it to have larger connections to the MCU. There's already so much going on with the live action MCU and the shows and everything, that What If should be a break from it. What If should be just Marvel content, having fun with no consequences, no strings attached. Just show me some fun concepts, like the fucking, what if Ultron won? Okay, it's a fun concept. What if the Avengers were getting assassinated? And okay, that's fucking awesome, great. But it doesn't. Like, half of the episodes are like that, and then the other half are just so far from what this show should be, and probably what the comics were. So for that, the show gets a 5 out of 10. It's mid.
It's very mid.
It's very mid.
Maybe if you do season 2, go ahead and just hire some voice actors to play the characters.
Don't bother.
Spend the animation budget properly this time.
For sure. Just go to 2D animation, for Christ's sake.
Yeah, I don't like this weird 2.5D that we're employing.
It's not.
Like, it would look so much better if it looked like a comic book.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Real. Well, this was a longer episode than I anticipated.
Same.
I'm glad we talked through it though, and Daddy Marvel can't hurt me too bad now.
No, not too bad.
Not anymore until Hawkeye comes out, and hopefully that's good. I don't know. Do you have hype for that show?
So right now, the things I have hope for are the Hawkeye show and Eternals, because right now Eternals is getting mixed reviews, and it's directed by Chloe Zhao, and that tells me that the MCU stans don't like it because they're not action. Or as much action.
It seems weird as to who isn't liking it right now. Like, it seems like a lot of people are not liking it because it's like a mess, but then a lot of MCU stans are defending it because it's diverse, but then other MCU stans are going, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know that I have any hype or hope for either of those shows. I feel tired of it right now. I don't know. Maybe I'll get excited when it's coming out. If I see like one positive review that like gets me, excited for it, maybe I'll be like, ooh. I read, here's the level of not giving a shit that I'm at. The Eternals plot leak came out, and I went and just ahead and read it.
You read it?
I don't know. Maybe it's better on screen.
Yeah.
It seems pretty mid.
Pretty mid?
pretty basic. I don't know. I wouldn't say that anything I read seems horrible. I would say it seems very predictable and formulaic, and I think that the only thing I'm interested in how it is put to the screen is to see what choices Chloe Zhao made with that story. I don't know. I'm gonna see it probably.
Yeah.
I don't care. Anyway, this is my obligatory I don't care about Marvel speech until we talk about it next time, and I
and you care.
Yeah, and I care again.
Yeah. Well, I'm off to watch Doom tonight.
Oh gosh, I hope you love it. And it sure is a darn shame that Last Night in Soho comes out later this week, because I would love to have talked about that before Halloween.
Yes.
It's not necessarily just Halloween though. It's an Edgar Wright hype beast.
Yep.
Hype beast.
Hype. Lots of good movies coming out now that we're in awards buzz season. This is my favorite time to be alive. I just need to catch up on everything, but I am excited. Let's go. Let's fucking go.
And you, viewers, go. You go. Keep going.
Okay. Yeah. Good job. All right.
That's it.
Well,
I'm so fucking tired of this podcast. I hate these
so
Were you thinking that?
Yeah.
That? Okay. This is the last fucking episode.
This is the last
Goodbye.
fucking episode. Goodbye.